What up, guys? Your boy Quake back with a brand new episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast, number 346. I hope you all are having an amazing day, night, morning, afternoon, whenever you're listening to this. I want to get you guys a little bit updated on what's going to happen moving forward. Nothing really changes on your guys' end in terms of the podcast, but I am fixing a certain area in my house to be able to record this podcast like more quickly in terms of news, right? So before, and I actually tested this out a little bit and it worked really well. It just, I didn't have the time to be going back and forth, to the office and home and, working on documentaries, and it was just a kind of a hectic thing. So what I did in the past was I would some not the whole time, but sometimes I would record news immediately when it happened and then post it on the main channel and then take that news that I recorded with the podcast background and everything, and then attach it to, the normal podcast episode. So then you would see my clothes change every clip or whatever. And, I would compile it into one and that would be the podcast episode. But of course, if new information came out, you would update that little clip, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But with me doing it this way, where I'm just recording every Wednesday and Sunday, it gets me behind on some news, right? News is a quick cycle and you have to be, delivering it literally as literally hours when it happens. That's usually where my viral news clips come from, is when I report on it immediately, or at least within hours of it coming out. So with this new location and me being able to just record it at my house without me having to travel anywhere or drive anywhere to the office or any of that stuff, it makes it way easier for me to cover news right when it happens versus, waiting 2-3 days or however long the waiting period is. And I'm letting you guys know this because what's going to happen moving forward, not right now, I think in about a week and a half, is the episodes are kind of going to look a little off because it's going to be, different clothes. I mean, for summer, all I wear is black tees. This is the one podcast episode where I'm actually wearing a different colored shirt, but I wear the same type of outfits in the summer, just black t-shirts, same type of shit. Nothing really changes in terms of that. But if you see different outfits, stuff like that, you'll know why. And I'll be recording the news and dropping them on the podcast page a lot quicker, because on the main channel, I'm no longer dropping news clips. It's just going to be on the podcast. On the main channel is just artist interviews and documentaries. And speaking of documentaries, I have one coming up in a couple of days, just a mini documentary about, 50 Cent and how much he made, off Animal Ambition, his worst selling album. He made over $100 million. How did he do it? A lot of people know, some people don't. There's more details. People think it's just a Bitcoin thing, but there's a few little things intertwined into there. I break down the numbers. It's more of a finance type of video, which I always want to test out. I've always wanted to test out. So if this does well and the reception is great, I want to do more of those type of videos where I'm breaking down an artist's deal or, something where it relates to finance, artists owning equity in a certain company and how much they made off it, and so on and so forth. I think that content's cool. I think it's missing in the hip-hop space. Who is doing that type of content? I don't want to disrespect anybody and not remember them off the top of my head. But I really can't think of anybody that's really covering hip-hop finance, breaking down, business deals a certain artist had, or what they, the success that they had from their champagne deals, whatever the case may be, right? I think that's very important, and I think we are missing that. So I'll see how that clip does, or that little mini documentary does. It'll probably be a 15 to 20 minute documentary, so nothing too long. And then, I'm going to be working on a Who Really Won, as well as a What Happened To, and a What Really Happened. So there's going to be 3 of those in the works. And then, like I said, that Rick Ross documentary, that's going to be also in the works, but that's going to be it's going to take a little while because mid-September I am going overseas for about a week and a half. I have to. I mean, there's no choice on that. Some stuff that we take care of overseas. So I will be gone with the podcast as well. It'll be about a week and a half with no podcast. But I think around that time, I'll still be dropping artist interview clips. If not, because I don't know if I'm going to lock down some new interviews, I'll probably be dropping clips of the Kid interview or the Benzino interview that I did a while ago. So it'll be recycled content, but at least some people who haven't seen it because they don't visit the podcast page will think it's new content, or they'll enjoy it as if it's new content. So yeah, that's kind of the updates I wanted to give you guys, like I always do in the beginning of the podcast, just to kind of get you guys tapped in. If you're not aware, Diverse Mentality Interviews is on streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and every other platform. There you can see all my artist interviews, all the interviews that I've done. There's only about 5: Kid, Benzino, Kia Shine, Kid Kid again because he came twice, and then Young Buck. And then we're going to be adding the Hot Rod one once it's fully out. And the Hot Rod feedback has been great. I'm a little disappointed in the views. I wish some of the views would have got better. I mean, one clip has done about 15 to 17,000, I think, views, somewhere around there, which is not bad. But I'm also disappointed a little bit on the Young Buck views. I wish that would have done better. I think the best clip we got is like 40,000 views. I was really expecting like some of those clips to do a lot better. I think YouTube is like not pushing my channel. It has this weird. I have these weird moments on my channel where it just like my subscribers don't get my content. Some of them even comment like, "Where have you been, Quake? It's been a year," and I'm like, "Dude, I've been dropping content. Like, what are you talking about?" I don't get it. I don't understand where that's coming from. YouTube's system is kind of broken in some parts. I don't know. Maybe YouTube's favoriting certain channels and not favoriting mine right now. I do know that there are certain points where your channel does get pushed more versus other people's, and I'm just not in that cycle where mine's getting pushed a lot more. My artist interviews aren't getting what I expected. Like the Buck one, if my channel was getting properly pushed, I could have got some clips that got at least 100,000 views or 200,000 views easily. But for some reason, my stuff just isn't getting pushed like that. So yeah, I don't know if it's because now I'm dropping different type of content and it's not really catering to the audience where they're used to my documentaries. Who knows? It could be that, but we'll see, because I'm going to drop this mini documentary to see how it performs. I mean, when I dropped the Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, it didn't really perform that well either. I mean, it's at 140,000 views right now, but I really expected that to do like at least 500,000, considering it's Drake versus Kendrick. It's a topic that people have always discussed. People know the history of the Who Really Won videos, so I was expecting that to perform better. But it's YouTube has its moments where it favors different content creators over others. I remember when I did the Machine Gun Kelly versus Eminem and the 6ix9ine stuff, I was the one getting pushed over everybody. I mean, Academics got 3 million views on a 6ix9ine clip. I got 6 million. I was getting pushed way more than everybody else. So during those months, I was getting favored a lot more than other people. So there's cycles of that, but it's just interesting. I've been having these kind of issues in my channel, just not getting pushed out. I've been stuck at the same type of subscribers amount too, which is crazy. It's like, I don't know. So hopefully on that end, things start to get better, because the channel is just kind of not growing at all. And I probably dropped like 40 videos with these interview parts and clips, and like you would think after 40 of them dropped, I would be gaining like at least 2,000 to 3,000 subscribers out of it. But no, I gained maybe 1,000, if that, which is crazy. So we'll see. Hopefully that gets a lot better. But yeah, support, like, share, comment. If you don't get notifications of my videos, definitely hit the bell icon, tap to make sure that they're all you're getting all notifications. Check the channels, because sometimes just YouTube is just being stupid and doesn't feed you the content. It's very dumb. Yeah. I just wanted to kind of get that out the way. Now let's get into the news. We got a Sean Kingston sentencing. And, man, he's going to have to cover those booty cheeks because they're going to have their way. Getting locked up is nothing fun, man. They're going to have their way with Sean Kingston in there. I know they're going to be singing, "You're way too beautiful, guy. You do me dirt. You'll have me suicidal if you clap these booty cheeks." Shout out to Diddy. Sean Kingston has gone through so much in his wire fraud case that even his lawyer wanted out due to an adversarial relationship. Although it's not good news for the singer, he just received his prison sentence following his convictions on federal wire fraud charges stemming from the alleged theft of various luxury items. So at least the saga began to come to a close. Per Billboard, at a sentencing hearing on Friday, August 15th in Florida federal court, he received a 42-month, 3.5-year prison sentence from Judge David S. Leibowitz. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. The judge also sentenced Kingston to 3 years of probation for his March convictions. While he tried to secure only house arrest due to his community charities and lack of previous convictions, CBS News Miami reports that Judge Leibowitz ruled closer to prosecutors' plans for Sean Kingston. Restitution hearings later in October and the following months will give him a chance to appeal his convictions. Sean Kingston's mother, Janice Turner, was also convicted on similar charges and received a 5-year federal prison sentence and 3 years of supervised release. Damn, she got more than Sean Kingston himself. which I would literally, if I could, I would swap that with my mom just because my mom's a lot older and she would have a harder time dealing with that than I would. But unfortunately, you can't do that. For those unaware, their fraud scheme allegedly targeted various vendors and sent them fake wire transfer receipts to avoid payment for luxury goods. Over $1 million allegedly came out of this move, which reportedly included a Cadillac Escalade and a huge LED TV. Now, I do remember on TikTok, probably a year and a half ago, seeing some lady, basically expose Sean Kingston for attempting, or I don't know if he did or he tried to, basically fraud these people into like giving their private jet to Sean Kingston. I don't know if he was like renting it out or he was trying to purchase it, and I forget how it went, man. I could be fucking this whole story up. Let me see. I just want to make sure. Yeah, so you see, he was basically frauding, scheming on a private jet, trying to act like he lives this lavish lifestyle. And, you know, look what it got him. His mother arrested. She's locked up for 5 years. He's locked up for 3.5 years. And for what? To keep up an image? Like, he could have easily. Now, Sean Kingston isn't a one-hit wonder, because a lot of people have that misconstrued. They think that he only came out with Beautiful Girls. That's the only hit. The other hit that I know about is that Eeny Meeny record with Justin Bieber. And I believe that was Sean Kingston's song. It wasn't Justin Bieber's. Let me see. Yeah, it is. Well, it says Sean Kingston and Justin Bieber, so I guess it's both their track, but it is on Sean Kingston's YouTube, not Justin Bieber's. So that's 2 hit records. And people can say, hey, 2 hit records, that's not a lot, but these are big. Like Beautiful Girls, let me see. I don't even know how much in streams that is. Let's go like Spotify. Let's see how much this song has streamed. I'm just genuinely curious. Beautiful Girls is basically about to reach 1 billion streams. It's at 985 million. Eeny Meeny's at 830 million. Fire burning on a dance floor. Whoa, that's another record. I love Take You There. Shawty, I could take you there. That's one of my favorites. But Beautiful Girls, there's 2 versions, the radio edit and then the explicit version. If you combine those 2, it's over 1 billion. It's like a 1.1 billion. So he's making, assuming whatever his contract is, assuming he owns some of his music actually, I know he's at least per year making at minimum $500,000 per year. And $500,000 per year is what? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Wait, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. So you're making $40,000 a month. You're already in the top 1% of earners in America. If you make over $450,000 a year, you're in the top 1% earners of America. So you're already living a great life making that kind of money. But because you're Sean Kingston, you're this celebrity, you want to live up this life to be even more. And that's where these individuals get caught up in dumb shit. You know, I forget what actor it is, man, but there was an actor who made a shit ton of money and then, you know, just to do regular, you know, because this actor was bored at home all day. He basically made a lot of money and he was like, I'm going to go and work at a grocery store. And people saw him at a grocery store. They laughed at him and said he was broke, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, I got more than enough money. It's just I'm bored home all day. I don't know what to do, and decided to work at a grocery store. And he doesn't care about people's perception and image of him, you know? And that's all that really it boils down to. Who cares what people think? If somebody says, hey, oh, Sean Kingston, you fell off. Ha, 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 ha. You had these big hit records, and now you're not living this crazy lifestyle. I'd have been like, ha, okay, I guess. I mean, yeah, but low-key, I'm making $500,000 a year. What are you doing? And that's residual income. That's just like income that's coming in with me doing nothing. So this is the problem is like, you know, people try to live this lifestyle even after they've fallen off or whatever, and it backfires. And you know what's crazy? And I don't want to put his business out there, but so many people in the comments are clowning Hot Rod, right? My interview with Hot Rod. They're saying this guy was a flop. He's a loser. Look at him. He got this opportunity to marry J. Blige and it flopped, and he's not doing shit with his life. He's this and that, whatever. Like, there's so many comments just clowning this guy. And I talk to him damn near every day now. And he put me on some game with social media. I'm not trying to put his business out there, but and we talk about this towards the end of the interview. He makes a lot of money off social media. Let's just say that. He is well off. When we were there doing the interview, he pulled up in a car that's well over $100,000. He's doing well for himself. But you would think because he had this song not do well, he didn't have his music career go right, people are just going to clown him and be like, he's a nobody cares. That's not the case, man. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean that it's not happening. Just because you do see someone doing something doesn't mean that they're happening. Because some people are doing shit through fraud, like how Sean Kingston was. Some people are in debt up to their neck, barely scratching by. So don't, take things for face value all the time. There's behind the scenes stuff, and that's what it is with Sean Kingston in this situation. Now he's locked up. They're going to have their way with his booty cheeks. They're going to sing that song, probably flip it to a Diddy-fied version. And it's not going to be sweet, man. 3.5 years of your life, and then you got 5 years probation after that. You're practically stuck in a system for 8.5 years. And they might reduce some time if you do well, but basically 8 years, you're guaranteed to be stuck in a system where you have to report, you have to make sure you're doing the right thing. Just not worth it, man. When what? To live a lavish lifestyle? I mean, he dropped his own cryptocurrency coin, and I was like, this shit's a scam. He's just trying to make money. And I would not be surprised if they somehow find some type of scamming on there and, go after him. And honestly, a lot more celebrities that are endorsing like cryptocurrency coins and then just abandoning with all the money and running away with it need to be investigated, because there are a few of them, like Mr. Poopy Butthole, a.k.a. Lil Reese, who scammed his fans 2-3 times. And, it's corny. It's like, these are your fans. Why would you scam them? Why would you, for what? Like, are you struggling that bad? Like, figure out a way to make money, man. Some of these guys are grown men. They're doing this shit. It's like, just losers, man. Yeah, that's probably going to get investigated, and maybe there might be something that happens there moving down the line. But that's the update for Sean Kingston. I don't think we're going to be hearing anything else from him anytime soon. I guess good luck serving 3.5 years. And I feel bad for his mom, but she got involved in it as well. She shouldn't have. So she's going to be serving another 5 years. And at her age, it's going to be a lot tougher. And hopefully she doesn't pass away in prison, because that would suck, man. 5 years at that age is horrible. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted and see if anything happens moving forward. Roc Nation is here to defend Fat Joe. So you guys know that huge lawsuit that was dropped. It was like a $10 million or something lawsuit about Fat Joe's hype man accusing him of, doing things to little kids and scamming people, whatever. I don't know. He accused him of a bunch of stuff, ordering hits on rappers like 50 Cent and all this stuff. Roc Nation says that's all bullshit, and Fat Joe has ties to Roc Nation. I think the podcast Joe and Jada is under Roc Nation's management. But yeah, let's go over the article. Fat Joe denied all the accusations against him in his former hype man's shocking lawsuit, but Terrence T.A. Dixon also named Roc Nation in this complaint. He accused the label of helping Joe allegedly withhold payments from him and enable his alleged behaviors of abuse, sexual relations with minors, threats, and other alleged crimes. However, according to All Hip Hop, The Roc claims they have evidence that proves this case is just a fake shakedown designed to defame and force a settlement. They asked the federal judge to dismiss the $20 million suit and sanction the plaintiff's attorney, Tyrone Blackburn. Allegedly, according to Jay-Z's company, Blackburn admitted in an email that Joey Crack may have defrauded Roc Nation too. This email allegedly appeared hours after the motion to dismiss. The agency thus argues that this undermines the entire case, since this accusation supposedly suggests the plaintiff dragged Roc Nation into the Fat Joe lawsuit as a defendant for no reason. This lawsuit is meant to harass and embarrass Roc Nation on the public stage, the company's legal team reportedly alleged. In response to this motion, Blackburn reportedly did not address the email, and The Roc believes this further proves their point. Nevertheless, the accusations against Fat Joe continued to develop ever since the lawsuit's original filing back in June. The Terror Squad rapper called these allegations disgusting lies and plans to combat them in court. Whether or not Roc Nation will have to fight alongside him is up for a judge to decide. The Roc, on the other hand, wants the court to dismiss the lawsuit with prejudice, meaning that Terrence T.A. Dixon would not be able to refile the case. They also seek legal fee coverage and imposition of sanctions regarding attorney Tyrone Blackburn's alleged legal misconduct. We'll see how the judge rules on this and other motions in the Fat Joe case. Yeah, to be honest with you, if there's no proof, a lot of these lawsuits, if there's no solid proof, I think they're just money shakedowns. That's unfortunately in today's time, it's gotten to that where A lot of people are hurting for money, man, and they're going to find any way, which way that they can try to get money. America is like the land of lawsuits, suing people just to sue. And it's unfortunate, man, that this is like very easily able to be done. You would think that if somebody's filing a massive lawsuit like this, that a lawyer that's going to pick up this case would have a common sense and be like, hey, do you have any evidence and proof of this before I, represent you and go after this person? Like, you would think that would be a standard, in these lawsuits, but it doesn't seem like it is, man. A lot of the Diddy lawsuits just got thrown away because there's no evidence. It's just people saying, oh, I recall on 1999, April 7th, Diddy touched my, ankle and he whispered in my ear, I'm trying to have you in a freak off with, I don't know, Mario Wayans. I don't know, just some random fucking person, right? It's like, how is that something that you could use to sue then? Like, how does a lawyer look at that and be like, you know what? Yeah, this person remembers that specific moment, that specific date, time, and everything. And, it's true. I think there's only one Diddy lawsuit where the actual person that sued had like photographs of her in the studio with Diddy on that date. She says she was, abused. That, okay, you can be like, you know what? You were in a studio with Diddy. The photos do look they did look a little, off, not like too crazy, but they did look like, okay, they're a little comfortable. I could see where like that, the lawyer could look at it and be like, okay, there's something here. Maybe we can, but somebody just coming up and be like, yeah, Diddy did this to me, or Fat Joe definitely did this with no evidence. I just don't understand how these things work. Like, I need to ask a lawyer. I would love to have a lawyer on the podcast. You know what I'm going to start doing if I can in the future on the podcast is bring in like experts on certain like law topics or something that I'm not really well educated in, and have them kind of weigh in on their, opinion on it. I think that would be really cool if I can get that to happen. But yeah, like I need to get a lawyer to touch on this and be like, how would you handle something like this? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So Rock Nation, hey man, they're on it, and Rock Nation is not a place to play with, as we all know. Updates on the Drake UMG lawsuit, and the UMG CEO Lucian Grange has responded, and he responded with a iron fist, saying, Aubrey, you're not going to demand emails and texts from me. Let's go over the article. Drake might drop his last album with UMG once Iceman comes out, but his saga with the label has much more consequential narrative right now. His defamation lawsuit against them over the Kendrick Lamar diss track, Not Like Us, is going all the way to the top. The industry giant's CEO, Lucian Grange. As reported by Billboard and Hip Hop DX, the executive responded to Drizzy and his legal team's motion to access his communications relating to Not Like Us. The Toronto superstar seeks Grange's emails and texts concerning the song's release, in addition to many other documents. Furthermore, in response to Drake's documents requests, Lucian submitted a declaration to the court. He said this: I had never heard the recording Not Like Us, nor ever saw the corresponding cover art or music video until after they were released by Interscope Records, the statement reportedly read. As part of my role, I certainly have financial oversight of and responsibility for UMG's global businesses, the CEO expressed. But the proposition that I was involved in, much less responsible for reviewing and approving the content of Not Like Us, its cover art or music video, or for determining or directing the promotion of these materials, is groundless and indeed ridiculous, is what he said. Lucian Grange also blasted Drake's allegations of sabotage against UMG. It makes no sense due to the fact that the company that I run, Universal Music Group, has invested hundreds of millions of dollars in Drake, including long-standing and critical financial support for his recording career, the purchase and ownership of the bulk of his recording catalog, and the purchase of his music publishing rights. Also, Grange claims that the boy continues to waste his and UMG's time and resources with this type of discovery. He suggested that personal attacks are for the sake of media attention and financial renegotiations. UMG as a whole responded in similar ways and also blasted Drake's attempt to access Kendrick Lamar's contract. Amid Drake's other reflections of the rap battle, we will see where this legal controversy goes. Now, There was a lot of talk about this response. Now, the first, half of it, Lucien saying, hey, I got nothing to do with this shit. I am the CEO. But did like Kendrick come to me and be like, hey, can I release the song? Because I don't know if you'll approve of it. He's like, no, I had no idea this is going on. Hey, he just dropped a song. He said what he said. It's a rap battle. I believe that wholeheartedly. I don't see a system or like a ploy of Kendrick being like, oh, let me plan this out with Lucien and we're going to pump this record. And now I can like that part where Kendrick just dropped the track and Lucien had no idea about it. That to me seems 100% true. Just the way everything came out, it just made sense like that. Now, as far as promoting the song, Drake could have a good lead and a good point that they pushed that record a lot more than they would have had it not been a Drake diss or had it, not been involved in the whole feud. Obviously it's a big point, but the whole feud made things more interesting because it's them two going back and forth with each other. And to be honest with you, if it was Drake versus if you look at Drake versus Pusha T, it was exciting, but it didn't have everybody tuned in. And this is why I said if Drake were to battle somebody, it would be Kendrick Lamar because Kendrick Lamar has the star power like Drake and, the catalog and the music ability to go against Drake. A lot of people that Drake went against in battles only had the music ability. They didn't have the star power. With Drake going against Common, having that little feud back and forth. Drake and Joe Budden having another little feud back and forth. Drake and Pusha T. All these artists are great artists. They can rap their asses off, but they don't have the star power. The audience isn't there on their side versus what Drake is. But with Kendrick, he's got the ability to rap and he has a star power. So obviously all this attention got focused in on this. Could Drake have a point and say that, hey, UMG pushed this record and made it way bigger than it's supposed to be? It wasn't supposed to be this big and it's supposed to have, this amount of, number one and staying at the number one spot for such a long time. Yeah, I mean, he could probably find proof of that. There was bots that UMG pushed it more to devalue his next contract. I can see him potentially proving that. There could be a way to prove that. But to accuse Lucien of knowing this was going to come out, knowing that Kendrick was going this route, I doubt it, man. It just seemed like Kendrick was just recording records and just responding, and that's what it is. Now, the interesting part that got a lot of people discussing and talking was this specific part. He said, the purchase and ownership of the bulk of his recording catalog and the purchase of his music publishing rights. Now, people have been saying Drake doesn't own his catalog. He lied because Drake has been saying, oh, I own my shit and they got to, re-up my stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then there's people saying, look, Lucien's saying they own his stuff. Here's where I'm with it, right? You guys, I think people are forgetting that with Drake getting 400 million, I think the deal was, or 300 million, whatever amount of million, somewhere, I think 400 million was the deal. They bought his catalog. They gave him that money as an upfront advance until they recoup it and make a little bit more. And according to some sources, Drake made them that money back within a year or two, which is insane to think about. So when they give him back that money, it's basically like a loan. Basically, they're just giving him a bunch of lump sum money ahead and saying, hey, we're going to take all the income that's coming in from your music right now. We're giving you this upfront, but we want to make, let's just say we're giving you 400 million. We want to make 500 million until we recoup to 500 million. Then you get your rights back to your catalog. That's basically all that's happening to me. That's the way I view it. Because why would UMG give him $400 million? It doesn't make any sense. Just to sign him? No. Labels work on loans. They just give artists loans, and then if they recoup the money, then they do another re-up deal, and that's really what it is. When Lil Wayne was selling his catalog, he officially sold it. It wasn't a loan. He actually just got a bunch of lump sum money. But a lot of these artists, they just want lump sum monies ahead of time. They don't want to wait until their music finally makes that money year after year. I'm sure Drake, if they recoup the money within 2 years, and it doesn't really make sense for Drake, why would Drake be getting upfront money? It just doesn't make any sense if he made that much money in 1 to 2 years. You can't wait 1 year, 2 years to make that 400 million. That's where it kind of gets a little iffy with me. It's why would you get a loan? But I mean, you're already playing with somebody else's money, so you don't lose money. But is Drake really somebody who's going to lose money? Come on, as an artist, he hasn't lost money ever, I think, on any of his projects, probably. And here's why I think Drake also actually does own his catalog and stuff. Maybe not 100%. He probably owns a lot of it. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of people don't think about this. And this is an interesting part on my Kid interview, where Kid said, when I first met Drake, this was in 2008. He said, when I first met Drake, he was on the tour bus with Lil Wayne, whatever. He had the most professional, like, book for his music. Like, it was written out, like, hey, this is my CD. He had, like, photo shoots. He had a biography. You know, he had it all organized. Kid was like, he was like, out of all the artists I've ever met in my life, he's like, I've never seen that. It was only Drake that was like that. Now, you got to think, if somebody comes that professionally organized and they haven't even blown up, this is 2008, you don't think this guy is really tapped into the business side of music? You don't think when he signed these deals, he really looked into, you know, what is he getting? What is he owning? You know, there's no way he didn't look at that. Drake is very smart on that aspect. And plus, here's what a lot of people tend to forget too. Drake came in with a buzz. So when he signed to Lil Wayne, there were labels fighting. You know, hey, we want to sign you. We want to sign you directly to Interscope. We want to sign you to Def Jam. We want to do this. There was a bidding war for Drake. And a lot of people were comparing his buzz to 50's. There was a bidding war. So at that moment, you have the choice to get the best deal that helps you in terms of owning your catalog, owning your music. You know, so this goes back to the argument of Rick Ross trolling 50 as well and saying he doesn't own his masters. You guys got to think, when 50 came into the game, his buzz was hot. Labels were fighting to their people. 50 said UMG was offering $2 million versus Eminem's $1 million, but he went with Eminem because he, you know, the outcome of that would be way better than just signing with whatever label. So there was a bidding war. So you don't think 50 had leverage when he went in there to sign his contract? That he didn't look over his paperwork and say, you know what, maybe I get to own certain things because I am hot. I don't have to sign here. I can go somewhere else. Come on. Like, if you're hot, you have leverage. Another example is Nipsey Hussle. When he went finally to the label Atlantic, he had leverage. He started building the buzz. He had an audience. He had proof that he can sell CDs. You know, so when you go into any deal, as long as you have leverage, you can ask for things. When you don't have leverage, when you're an unknown artist, you're not making any money, then yeah, you just get whatever deal's thrown at you and you accept it. So Drake definitely owns a huge portion of his catalog, potentially all of it, or at least 80% of it. There's no way he doesn't. I just don't. If he came in the game that, like, precise with a booklet and making sure, like, come on, man. And he's been in acting, so he knows kind of, not music industry, but he knows, like, the industry and how there's snakes and contracts. I mean, even in the acting world, there's always these people trying to steal money from you and trying to make sure you don't, you know, even in, we've heard in actors, what's that actor? And Drake and Josh. I don't know if you guys ever watched Drake and Josh. I used to watch it growing up as a kid on Nickelodeon. They revealed that, hey, whenever Drake and Josh replays on TV, we get nothing because we don't own any of the show. There's nothing. No royalty checks, nothing. So you don't think he learned from the acting days as well to be like, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not getting anything out of this grassy thing, and somebody's telling me, you know, you get, or maybe he was getting stuff, and he's like, maybe this happens also in music too. So there's a lot of factors into that people aren't thinking about. I think that Drake definitely owns majority of his catalog. You know, 100%, I don't know, because that's really hard. And legally, like, the law is, I believe, after 27 years or 28 years, the rights to the music goes back to the owner automatically. That's just, like, legally what happens. Because there's, like, a law in music where, you know, it just has to go back to the rightful owner. It's like I forget what it was. It was something about, like, not screwing artists over. And so after, like, 27 years, the person gets their rights to their music. Now, is your music relevant after 27 years after you released it? That's a good question. With streaming, it definitely helps, though. You know, there's a lot of artists whose career, if it was still CD days, people would have forgot about them and moved on, and nobody would have ever, you know, they would have made no money off their music. But with streaming, it's definitely helped. It's revived a lot of artists' careers because now with TikTok, a lot of old songs are getting used again, and new artists are sampling older artists. So it helps in that sense. But yeah, that part of it where people are arguing back and forth and saying, oh, Drake doesn't own his thing. Nah, they probably just bought it for that moment until they recouped some more money. They gave him $400 million and said, hey, until we recoup $500 million, you're not going to get your, you know, money from your catalog and stuff, which is fine. You know, some artists prefer that money up front, and then they can wait, and then whenever they recoup their money, it makes sense. I don't believe the part where, hey, Drake recouped the money within a year. That makes no sense to me, because why would they give him an advance? Why would Drake ask for an advance if he's already making $400 million in a year off his catalog? It makes no sense. That just doesn't To me, that makes no sense. Why would you get a loan for something that you're already making that year? It's like me getting a loan for $100,000, but I just made $100,000 this month. Now, I get it because it's money that's not mine and that I have to pay, but it's interest and lots of shit that goes into it. But yeah, you guys get the point on that. Continuing on, Drake also has demanded access to the Interscope CEO's financial records. Basically, this guy's just demanding information about everything relating to Kendrick Lamar. He wants to know when Kendrick Lamar gets up and does his push-ups, when does he eat breakfast, when does he fucking eat cereal, when does he hang out with his kids, is Dave Free involved in his life, all this stuff. When does he poop? I mean, this guy's asking for an insane amount of information. Let's go over the article. Drake controversially filed a lot of document requests in his UMG defamation lawsuit. We talked about it. More specifically, according to All Hip Hop, Drizzy and his legal team are seeking Interscope CEO John Janik's compensation records over the last 5 years. These financial documents would include salary, bonus, and incentive pay information, as well as the label's monthly profits and revenue starting from 2020 onward. All of this is because the Six God and his lawyers are accusing Janik of having a financial incentive to boost the performance of Not Like Us diss track. Not only that, but Drake wants to see Kendrick Lamar's UMG contract as well, which we talked about in the last episode. Evaluation of the Compton Lyrics catalog as far as back as January 2020. So Ransom issued a statement to U.S. Magistrate Judge Jeanette Vargas about the allegedly intrusive, irrelevant, and designed to harass requests. Drake seeks Interscope CEO John Janik's private and highly confidential compensation details going back to 2021, 4 years before Not Like Us was even released, he wrote. Yet Drake makes no attempt to explain how his intrusive request for 5 years worth of individual compensation records is conceivably relevant or proportional to this case, which centers on the release and the promotion of a single track and music video in 2024. There is none. So basically they're just saying, man, you're asking for way too much. That's got nothing to do with Kendrick Lamar. I can see if Drake said, hey, let me see, Kendrick Lamar, which he did. He's basically saying, let me see Kendrick Lamar's contract. I can see if, he's asking for that. But yeah, Drake is kind of pushing the line on what he's able to do. But I think he's doing this because if he goes really far out there, they're going to have to meet him somewhere. So why not request and ask for the most? And then, you guys go back and forth and get, because that's basically what you do in negotiations. And that's what really lawsuits and these type of situations are. They're really negotiations. So you really throw out there a huge number, and then obviously they're not going to agree to it. They're not, or a huge, request. They're not going to agree to it, but then you go back and forth, and then you get kind of what you want, what you actually originally planned to get. So I can see kind of that strategy in this situation, but it is getting out of control. Like I said, if Drake manages to expose the music industry and expose Universal for malpractices that they're doing and screwing artists over, this is not a bad thing at all. Like, even I think Kendrick Lamar can look at it and be like, okay, I respect this. You know why? Because if Kendrick is really for artists and actually supporting artists, then yeah, he should be able to get behind something like this and be like, yeah, screw these labels. They're not, like, it should be artists against labels, because labels most of the time screw artists. And I get it. Labels are a business, right? They assign 10 artists. 1 out of those 10 blow up, so they take a loss on 9 and they have to recoup on 1. I get it. It's a business. It is at the end of the day a business that wants to make money. But some of these like malpractices that they do is just insane, man. They screw some artists and you can't. Here's the problem. And I've talked to a lot of producers, engineers, artists. It's hard to track down your earnings on stuff. You have to hire a lawyer to basically audit them. So you don't even know, like, you don't get statements every month saying that, oh, you're in the whole 500,000 of the song, but this year you managed to break that to 450,000. And then once you get to breaking even, then we can start paying you. Like, you don't even get that. Like, it's just, the label can just say, hey, we haven't recouped the money on the song yet, so you're not getting paid. And you just kind of have to go with it until you hire a lawyer to like audit them. So it's like, that's also, unfair and trick and very snaky, because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So like I said, if Drake manages to reveal all the malpractices, man, it's a big, big win for Drake. People are looking at it from the scope of just Drake versus Kendrick, but if he does that, it's a huge win. If not, it's going to backfire badly at requesting all these things, and yeah, it's just not going to look good for Drake at all. It's going to really taint his music, his legacy at least. And hip-hop, 100%. Like, hip-hop's not fucking with it. But, I mean, the mainstream pop world, I don't think they give a fuck at the end of the day. They just care if Drake drops good music, good pop singles, and that's all they care. But, yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. Round of applause. It looks like Freddie Gibbs and Benny the Butcher have squashed their beef. We don't know 100%, but they were spotted chatting. So let's go over the article. Freddie Gibbs and Benny the Butcher have been at odds for years, but now it looks like the reconciliation may not be off the table. Earlier this week, Westside Gunn's son posted a vlog from his trip to Paris. In it, the two rappers can be seen chatting at the airport. It remains unclear exactly what they talked about, but Westside Gunn appeared committed to facilitating their reunion. Needless to say, fans are ecstatic. Now, this is what I like to see. One of them writes in the replies, Freddie Gibbs and Benny got to squash it, man. Someone else says, while this certainly seems, that doesn't make any sense. While this certainly seems like a step in the right direction, it wasn't long ago that Gibbs threw an apparent jab at Benny the Butcher on the album with the Alchemist, Alfredo 2, which we talked about a while ago. So, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen. Very cool. I think they probably just chatted. And, sometimes when you run into somebody, you do chat with them. Doesn't mean that things are squashed. No, but you talk about it. Like, I mean, they're not going to fight at the airport because that's immediately federal charges and it's not worth it. But, if they have the conversation, at least you can say, where is this at? Kind of temperature check, see what's going on. Is this really real or is this rap shit? And they got into, fights back and forth and real life shit. So, yeah, hopefully this ends. Hopefully they make music together, man. I'd love to hear that. Really, really dope. But, yeah, that's kind of an update on their situation. Nipsey Hussle, man, his birthday just passed. 40th birthday. If he was alive, he would be 40 years old. Man, it's just crazy saying that because I miss this guy so much, man. It's like a weird. I've never, not once cried over a celebrity dying, and with him, for some reason, I got really emotional. And I remember seeing his funeral on TV, and I was like, man, this is just so unfortunate. It's really, really sad, man. Just the way he went out is just always. It's like it wasn't like meant to be. It was just very weird, man. It was it's like an alternate timeline that happened it's like a matrix. It's a shift in the matrix. It's just, I never could get over it. But, yeah, let's go over the article. Nipsey Hussle would have celebrated his 40th birthday, but sadly, life had other plans for the late West Coast legend. Still, folks everywhere continue to keep his legacy alive and pay tribute to his impact, including the Los Angeles metro system. Furthermore, according to Uproxx, the city announced that they will temporarily rename the Hyde Park Metro Station on Crenshaw and Slauson to the Nipsey Hussle Station from Friday, August 15th through Sunday, August 31st. Also, they will issue 2 special tap cards for a limited time that feature the Crenshaw MC. One of them is an iconic picture by Jonathan Mannon of Nip at the Hyde Park Station's intersection, and another features him sitting in the back of the Metro bus. 12,000 total cards will be available at select stations tomorrow. Really cool, man. That is really cool. This is the latest move from the Metro X Culture campaign that aims to connect the agency with the heart of Los Angeles' vibrant cultural landscape by collaborating with prolific local artists, musicians, community heroes, and influential brands per a press release. Really cool, man. Really cool, man. The cards are really cool. It's like collectible, man. I think some people should actually get them because, you could probably have them as a collector. Only 12,000. That's not that much. That'll go by pretty quick. But yeah, man, sad situation overall, man. I always think about, we were robbed of a lot of great music from a lot of great artists, man. And it just seemed to happen in such a short time span. Just as I was getting into Juice WRLD, he died. Just as I was getting into Young Dolph, he died. Just as I was getting into, actually, no, Young Dolph, I wasn't. I did hear Young Dolph music before, and I had some songs from him on my phone, but I really didn't listen to Dolph until after he died a lot. But just as I was getting into King Von and Juice WRLD, they died. And Nipsey I've always been a fan of. I heard of him in 2010 with that Chameleonaire When You're On record. But yeah, these guys so Juice WRLD, obviously talented on so much different levels. That guy can make rock music, melodic music, whatever kind of music you wanted. He was good at that. Unfortunate, died early. Lil Peep, great talent. XXXTentacion, great talent. That should have been the new generation of artists. Pop Smoke, we got robbed of someone who was a superstar. I mean, that guy was a superstar. That guy can dance, rap. I mean, his raps weren't insane lyrically, right? And a lot of stuff he would repeat in some songs, but he brought this new sound, man. He took a sound from the UK and brought it in America and delivered something fresh. It was basically the new 50 Cent for people, for the new generation. He's gone. You got all these people gone. Then Nipsey, he's gone. And then you got Young Dolph. He's gone. Like, unfortunately, a lot of like the great artists died, man. A lot that would have been like Nipsey. Granted, Nipsey's been in the game since like 2000, whatever you want to say, 2009 when he officially got into the game. So you could say he was an older artist, but he was just starting with his like mainstream career. He just dropped his debut album officially on a major like label. So he was just getting started on his career, and he was starting to actually blow up, make great music. He was reaching the peak of his music career, and gone. Dolph, I was highly sleeping on Dolph. Like, I heard a couple records, you know, the major. I heard the Cut It with OT Genesis on there. I heard him on what's that record with Key Glock, man? Major, I think it's called, or something like that. But I heard a couple records with Dolph, right? But I wasn't really tapped into Dolph's music like that. And then when he died, I just decided to go over his catalog, and I was like, damn, this guy was really good, man. Ear for beats, that guy flowed like a motherfucker with Drummer Boy. Oh my God, man. Yeah, man. Just, you know, unfortunate, man. Nipsey and these guys, these new generation just got cooked. Unfortunately, they could have held the torch, and that's why we haven't had anything like really fresh, moving things forward. Music is kind of, and hip hop specifically, has kind of gotten stagnant because there hasn't been new talent that has taken over and had that star power like those guys did. But yeah, rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, and happy 40th birthday to him. I just want to talk about this briefly. Tyler, the Creator, I'm not a fan of him. As you guys know, I'm not really a big fan of Tyler, the Creator. Don't really check out his music like that. But he just revealed that Lloyd Banks is his favorite G-Unit artist. So let's go over the article. Tyler, the Creator, has always moved against the grain, and his latest revelation proves it. While most hip-hop heads crown 50 Cent as the face of G-Unit, Tyler's pick for the crew's top lyricist has always been Lloyd Banks. The conversation came after a fan posted a mashup blending Tyler's Hot Wind Blows with Banks' 2004 single I'm So Fly. The edit caught Tyler's attention, sparking a wave of nostalgia. He said this: "Sick, bought Hunger for More the day it came out. Banks was my favorite from G-Unit." And guess what? Banks quoted it and responded and said, "Appreciate that," which is a very simple response from Banks. One, Tyler, the Creator, said his favorite 50 Cent track is "I'll Whip Your Head Boy" from the Good Should I Try soundtrack. That's interesting. One, it is unfortunate that, because if you hear this, I can't play it because copyright. But shout out to Black Mass, who actually did this mix. He's really good at mixing like records with beats and different styles, whatever. He's really good at that. So shout out to him. He mixed that Hot Wind Blows Tyler, the Creator track with Lloyd Banks' I'm So Fly beat. It sounds so good. And the reason why this mix even happens is because some people are saying that Tyler, the Creator, sounds a little bit like Lloyd Banks on tracks. I even tweeted, I was like, chat, is this true? Because I didn't know. I don't really listen to Tyler, the Creator. Some people said, yeah, you might sound like it. Some people said, nah. I can hear where people are saying it sounds like him. And for Tyler, the Creator, to say, hey, I was a huge G-Unit fan, and, you know, Banks is my favorite from the group. And obviously Banks is the best lyricist in G-Unit. There's no debate on that. Maybe you could argue The Game was up there too if he actually stayed in the group for, you know, a specific period of time. But yeah, really cool, man. And I hope Banks like takes this as an opportunity to collaborate with Tyler, the Creator. I'm not a fan of Tyler, the Creator, but I heard him on the clips, that verse on there. Cool. He killed it. I loved it. So him and Banks, I wouldn't mind hearing that, man. Banks needs to kind of branch out and work out with new, like, do tracks with some newer artists, man. Not just artists that are New York driven with Benny the Butcher and, you know, these artists. Like, I get it, cool, you did it, but let's expand, like, work with some newer acts. You know, I would love to hear Banks with, I don't know, Gunna. What's wrong with that? Like, that's a new, different twist. Banks with Kevin Gates. I've been wanting that for a while. That'd be really cool. Banks with Tyler, the Creator. Banks with, you know, Kendrick Lamar. Banks with J. Cole. Whoever. Like, these newer, even though they're not really newer artists, Kendrick and J. Cole, but just something different, you know, from Banks. And he can easily do that, man. Travis Scott was bumping his album when he first came out with the Course of the Inevitable. In the background, he's bumping his albums. Travis Scott, that's another person, even though I'm not a fan of Travis Scott. Regardless, I think it would be cool, man. Banks needs to branch out. Yeah, so really cool. Just wanted to touch on that. Continuing on, speaking of 50 Cent and G-Unit, or G-Unit, 50 Cent's brand, 50 reacts to STARZ' financial problems. This is very interesting. I wanted to talk about this because it just shows the impact 50 had on that network. Let's go over it. 50 Cent has a lot of different avenues in his entertainment empire, whether it's his collaborations with comedians or his work in film and TV. One of the most important chapters in the later category is his partnership with STARZ, which resulted in hit shows like Power, BMF, and various spin-offs of the former. However, 50 Cent's STARZ bond broke down over the past few years, and it looks like both entities still aren't in the best of terms. As reported by All Hip Hop, Fifth recently took to social media to react to the network's subscriber reports and financial decline. Apparently, STARZ lost $42.5 million due to U.S. streaming subscribers dwindling from 13 million to 12 million, and a 410,000 loss in domestic customers to 17.6 million. Not only that, but this allegedly occurred over a 3-month time span due to the alleged underperformance of mainstays like BMF and its 4th season. 50 posted it and said, "It's not that hard to say goodbye." Bye. 50 said of STARZ in his post. He reposted the coverage of the losses. I did remove that post, by the way. I don't know why 50 does this. He reacts to shit and then just removes it off his page, which is why you got to screenshot this shit, because you can't believe, sometimes people don't even believe that 50 did it. But yeah, like if it wasn't, here's the thing. STARZ could never take a loss if they never had success in the first place, right? Like if 50 never made STARZ what it was, the huge success that it ended up, they would have never had those subscribers to lose. And I think 50's and STARZ relationship is basically not in good terms for some reason. BMF, I never watched BMF, to be honest with you. I just never found interest in it. I never even checked it out. And to be honest with you, I haven't seen anything from 50's STARZ shows after Power. Like, I didn't watch the spinoffs Raising Kanan. I didn't watch Ghost. I didn't watch the Tommy one. I think there's supposed to be a 5th one with that what's that fucking guy's name, man? The guy who was running for like mayor or governor or whatever in New York. There's supposed to be a spinoff of that. That never ended up happening. It got like canceled. House of Cards type of version is what 50 was saying. And now they're doing like a Power Origins where they're going back to when Tommy and Ghost met, like the origin story, which cause to me, Power died when Ghost died. Like to me, I just stopped fucking with Power after that. I don't really care. I didn't care to watch it. I watched the Ghost one, probably 3-4 episodes. I just couldn't get into it. It just felt like very eh. And then the people saying, the Ghost one is good and the Raising Kanan is good. Both of them are good. I don't know why. I don't care to watch them. They just never intrigued me. And BMF I never had an interest in BMF in general. I really could care less. So yeah, to me on that end, yeah, STARZ, I haven't been watching STARZ ever really. Ever since Power just ended as a show, which was, I don't remember what year that ended in. Because it started in 2014. It ran for like 6 seasons. So I'm thinking 2020, 2021, something like that. I don't know. But it ended and I just lost interest in the show. But yeah, 50's right to kind of do his own thing. Now what 50 needs to do is expand that catalog of stuff that he's working on, man. I don't want to hear just stories of drug kingpins and gangsters, and like come up with something new, man. Do some comedy. I know he did 50 Central and it flopped and it did horrible, but that's kind of like a stand-up, and it's on BET, so it didn't really perform that well. Do comedy in terms of like movies or TV shows, like, figure out some different paths, man. I know he was working on some animation show, like what happened to that? There's just a lot of stuff that 50 was working on that he announced, and we don't hear shit about it. The 8 Mile TV show, that would be really, really dope if they can execute that properly. Yeah, it's just, there's a lot of different stuff, and it just seems like 50 kind of announces it and just moves on, which is crazy. But yeah, we'll keep our eyes posted on that, and yeah, we'll see what happens moving forward. New music, a lot of new music came out. Chance the Rapper dropped Starline, the album. ASAP Rocky dropped Trunks / Both Eyes Closed from the highest to lowest soundtrack. Let's see, Babyface Ray dropped Codeine Cowboy, the album. Cardi B dropped Imaginary Players, sampling that Jay-Z record and its Booty Flakes. Roy Woods dropped One Night Stands featuring Chow Lee. DGG dropped Tight End. Ferg dropped Bike Air Anthem. Lil Peep, which I'm surprised Lil Peep is even dropping music. I guess it's posthumous releases. Downtown, and then more new music came out on different dates. Kevin Gaze dropped Luca Brasi 4. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't listened to it. And this is how you guys know I'm not bullshitting you guys when it comes to new music and me not having time. Kevin Gates is one of my favorite artists. And I still haven't even listened to that project. That's how you know, like, if I was bullshitting you guys, I would have listened to this and then gave you guys a review and been like, hey, look. And then you guys would have been like, why don't you listen to this project and this project, but you're only listening. I just genuinely haven't had the proper time. I listened to a little bit of Gunna records, You know, if you should just say that. I saw that on YouTube as a music video, so that's why I clicked on it and checked it out. There's a few Gunna tracks I checked out, but I haven't really been listening to new music like that because I've been so entrenched in a lot of different documentaries and stuff, and I just get in this zone where I just don't, I don't really branch out. But what I need to start doing is when I work out in the mornings or when I have downtime, I just need to bump some music, newer music that comes out, because I'm getting out of touch with a lot of the new music that's coming out. But yeah, Luca Brasi 4, I highly doubt this one beats Luca Brasi 3 just because Kevin Gates' recent music hasn't been that good. I'm going to be honest with you guys. He just kind of lost that, I don't know, he lost a certain touch to the music. It's been not that good. I think one of the singles off there is Stutter, and I don't like that record at all. But yeah, Luca Brasi 3 is a classic. I don't think he's going to top that with this one. I just got a feeling he won't. But who knows? I haven't checked it out yet. Kodak Black dropped I'ma Shoot. NBA Youngboy dropped Deshaun the album. This guy's just dropping albums left and right. Chief Keef and Mustard dropped Shake That. Maroon 5 and Lil Wayne dropped Love Is Like. Polo G dropped Move Forward. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, album sales. Number 1, Morgan Wallen, I'm the Problem, 126,000 sold, which is insane. This guy just keeps selling albums like it's nothing. K-Pop Demon Hunters soundtrack is at number 2 again, with 103,000 sold. Gunna debuts at number 3. Number 3 debut. I'm sure he's not happy about that, but you're competing with Morgan Wallen and K-Pop, so it's really hard. 80,000 sold. So that's the last project he has on YSL, which is Young Thug's label. 80,000 sold the first week. That is not bad, man. Not bad at all. MGK debuted at number 4 with Lost Americana at 63,000 sold the first week. That's not bad at all either for him, man. A lot of people said Machine Gun Kelly's career is dead. Well, he's out here doing some decent numbers. Alex Warren, number 5 with You're All Right Kid, 42,000. Justin Bieber Swag, number 6 with 38,000. Morgan Wallen, number 7 with One Thing at a Time, 38,000. Jonas Brothers, Greetings from Your Hometown, number 8 debut at 38,000. Number 9 debut, Baby Metal, Metal 4, 36,000. And then SZA, SOS, number 10 with 34,000. JID, God Does Like Ugly, debuted at number 11 with 31,000 first week. Not bad numbers for him. Going down the list, Tyler the Creator, Don't Tap the Glass, number 20 with 23,000. Party Next Door, Drake, Some Sexy Songs for You, number 21 with 22,000. NBA Youngboy, Massa, number 27 with 20,000. Kendrick Lamar, GNX, number 28 with 20,000. And Drake, Take Care, number 35 with 18,000. I think that's it. Travis Scott, Jack Boys 2, number 43 with 16,000. That fell off from number 23 last week. That's crazy. Yeah. And that's it for album sales. And that's it for today's episode of the Diverse Mentality Podcast. As always, appreciate you guys. Support me in every which way you can. Like and share and subscribe and all that. Patreon, YouTube memberships. We're going to get this thing going. I'm going to try to, get that house location set up. It's going to be a new design from this. It's going to be really cool. I think if I have it planned out in my head the way I have it planned out, it's going to be really nice. And I'll be able to touch on news topics a lot quicker, which is a lot better because that just brings in more views, which brings in more revenue, which brings in bigger and better things. So appreciate you all for streaming, liking, all that, watching on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Pocket Cast, wherever platform you listen. Have an amazing night, day, whenever you listen to this, and peace.